So I mentioned parenting is stewardship. It is not our identity. Anyone that has heard me speak, I don't know how many times I tell parents this all the time. Your parenting is a role. It's not who you are. Who you are is the core of what has created you. Your identity is not found in parenting. It is our responsibility to steward our children, to steward our lives. So we have to do that through discipline. We have to do that through accountability. We have to do that through so many different means. And oftentimes, parents will get hung up on only providing for their children in one way instead of sometimes looking at it from a well rounded picture. And so I want to bring us into a new way, a more well rounded look. So that way we're understanding God gave us these children to steward them, but also to help move them along in their lives and for us not to just be stagnant in our role of parenting. So, why do many parents tie their worth to parenting? That could be because prior to parenting, you weren't sure what you wanted to do. You may not have felt purposeful. A lot of times, I've had conversations with parents where they said, parenting is my purpose, and it absolutely can be. But aside from just parenting, because it is a season when you are actively parenting, what is it that you enjoy doing? What is it that God has called for you to do? Because if we don't pursue the thing that God has called for us to do while we're parenting, then we can literally be behind because our children are going to grow off and they're going to go to college or they're going to live their lives, whatever that looks like. And sometimes we're stuck trying to figure out, well, what do I do now? And so this is why it's important that we're building legacy, living it, not just leaving it. Because the leave it mindset means everything that I do right now in this moment is for the future. But to build it and to live it means everything that I'm doing right now is to change tomorrow, to change today, and for the future. So do not get caught up in the only thing that I'm required to do right now as a parent is parent. Because we're not just raising children, we're raising adults, human beings that are going to go out into the world. And what we give them, affection, attention, discipline, accountability, responsibility, are things that are going to be imparted in them in their childhood, and then we're going to continue to steward those seeds that we plant through the rest of our lives. Another thing that I want us to understand is what stewardship is from a faith perspective and also from a psychological perspective, because this is about the total man, practicality and faith mix, because it all goes together. The scripture tells us faith without works is what? Dead. So I want us to look at the parable of the talents. It's a very familiar scripture in Matthew 25:14 through 30. And I won't read the whole thing, but let's just start at verse 14 real quick. For it was like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. Stewardship is about entrustment of something given to you. What is stewardship? The entrustment of something given to you. Our children are given to us by God, and He's given us a responsibility to steward them. In Proverbs, it tells us, train up a child in the way in which they're to go. Excuse me. That word to train means to discipline. It can also be translated to steward. Steward that child in the way in which they're to go. What has God placed within them? It is our responsibility to search it out. It is our responsibility to put them in environments where they're going to thrive and flourish. It is our responsibility to teach them the ways of God. So that's what stewardship is. And so here in Matthew, where he's talking about the parable of the talents, it's very clear how when we're not stewarding what God has given to us, it's taken away from us. What does that look like on a practical level? Oftentimes, I'll share my story. When I was a child, I had adult responsibilities. I was very much parentified. And I didn't know what that meant then, but when I came into healing, I started to understand, oh, this is what this means to have not had a childhood, to experience things before I was even emotionally, mentally, physically capable of doing any of these things. And so, because of that, the relationships that I had with my grandmother, well, that was very short lived because she passed away when I was a child. But the relationship with my mother, the relationship with my grandfather, those two relationships were very minimal relationships. I didn't have a lot of interaction with my grandfather because I didn't like the way in which he did things. I didn't like how he treated me. I didn't like how he treated my mother. I didn't like how he treated a lot of people. And so I knew that I didn't want to even be attached to that. Now, the short version is I had to forgive him, even in his passing, because God was doing a thing with me. Okay, y'all. And we could get into that story a whole nother day. But to the purpose of understanding stewardship and talents and things being taken from us, here in verse 15, it says, to one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. God knows what he's placed in each and every one of us. And so sometimes parents will get very frustrated, especially when it comes to co-parenting. Like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And we have to take a step back and ask God, did the ability that you've given this parent or this individual, are they maximizing that ability or are they not? Because if they're not, here in the scripture, when the master came back and the one that had the 5 talents, he multiplied it to 10. The one that had the 2 talents, he multiplied it also. But the one that had the 1 talent, because he was so fearful of what the master may do, he hid that talent and it was taken from him. In parenting, if we are not maximizing the talents that God has given us, our skill sets, number one, our skill sets, and then number two, stewarding the things that are in our children, it can be taken from us. And we don't want that. We are here to build legacy. We are here to uplift our children. We are here to live a life of purpose. And living a life of purpose does not only mean we're raising children, we get to steward them. So I hope you see the language here that I'm trying to move us into. Moving from my worth is parenting to I'm able to steward everything in my life. And parenting is a huge part of that.